What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Carnivore Hangout. I'm Nicole, former fat girl. I'm joined here with Jeff at Everyday Carnivore, Aaron with the Kilby Life, and Amanda with Carnivorous Me. And I have an echo, so I'm going to kill that. So why don't we go around as people are entering and just quickly introduce ourselves and share kind of a shortened version of what landed you guys in Carnivore, since we have everyone's audience here in case they don't know who we all are. So we'll go in order of my screen. So Jeff, why don't you kick it off?
All right. Well, thanks for hosting this, Nicole. My name's Jeff. My channel is the Everyday Carnivore, and I'm just an everyday guy that struggled with weight for most of my adult life and found some success through keto and eventually found carnivore and have cured pretty much every health problem that I have while taking off some weight. And I just like to meet other carnivores and get them to share their story and share my experiences along the way.
You're not getting off that easy. What health issues did you cure?
Well, besides the weight, I cured snoring or sleep apnea. Heartburn was a big one, and lots of aches and pains. Plenty of other things, but those were the biggest, I guess.
Nice. What's going on? We got Christine Cooper. Greetings, fellow meat munchers from New Zealand. What's going on?
New Zealand.
Got some
New
good land
Zealand in
over
the
there.
house. We got Ecuador in the house. Hola.
All right.
From
Starting with
Australia.
international audience tonight.
What's up, Dave? Dave's not here.
Hey, Dave.
So Amanda, why don't you quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, I started carnivore a little bit more, 13 months ago, actually. I was 360 pounds at 32, having to use a walker because I was so sick. I had type 2 diabetes, fatty liver. I actually started with 17 comorbidities, including 3 autoimmune issues, scleroderma, fibromyalgia, and rheumatoid arthritis. My background is actually in physical therapy.
Oh.
And I ended up having to give up seeing patients just because I had gotten so bad off. I ended up in the hospital in the middle of June, and that kind of is when I realized I had to make a change or I was going to die soon. My depression and anxiety had taken over my life. And so far now I've dropped over 120 pounds. I went from using a walker 6 weeks in. I was able to stop using that. I could hardly walk a few hundred feet to now I can walk 8 miles uphill hiking. I paddleboard, bike.
Wow.
Let's see. I am down to 4 comorbidities. 3 of them are autoimmune. They are immensely better, but I did cure my type 2 diabetes. No, not in remission. I have cured it. Fatty liver, gone, everything. My life is completely different in such a positive way. And I have documented my entire journey from 2 weeks in on my YouTube.
Damn.
Very, very cool.
So are you seeing patients again now?
No.
Okay.
I actually decided that it was too much for me. We moved from Arizona to Washington State, and I actually didn't bring my license to Washington State.
Oh, okay.
Not to make this remotely political, but Medicare will not pay for clinicians who are not vaccinated, and I decided not to. And so there was no point in renewing my license because the majority of the patients that I see are Medicare patients. And
Okay.
So here we are.
Yeah. I was with the federal government here in Northern Virginia, and they had that whole mandate thing too. So
Yeah.
I feel you there.
Yeah.
So did you get the vaccine?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I got the first 2 just because I didn't want to get fired, but I thankfully left. But yeah, I'm not boosted or rocketed or any of that stuff. So Aaron, what's going on, man?
Oh, yeah. Well, a married guy. I have 8 kids. I always have to say, yes, I have 8 kids. It's a real thing. People still do that. We have 1 set of twins. They're not adopted. We were told we couldn't have kids, and then next thing you know, we have 8, and we're blessed, and we're drowning at the same time. And I'm like, I thought I was doing a good job with my health, and just on and off dieting for the last almost 20 years, honestly. And I just kept getting sicker and sicker. And I thought I was getting older and older. And then my doctor told me I had type 2 diabetes. And so I went home and I was like, okay, what is that exactly? And I did 5 minutes of research, and I found out that it was reversible. And I kind of got hacked off. That was the moment I'm like, okay, so someone's not telling me the truth, and something's wrong here. Guess what? I'm gonna eat that all meat diet that I saw Jordan Peterson talking about. I'm like, I'm gonna do that because I knew carbs are bad, sugars are bad, but I didn't know how bad. So I'm gonna do that, and then so I've been on it a little over 16 months now. I ended up dropping 50 pounds. You know, I don't snore. My wife doesn't hit me anymore. That's nice.
Speaking of your wife.
Yeah. Is she in your the Kilby wife? Woohoo! Yeah, that's Kilby Life and the Kilby Wife. Wow, that's a cool name. But I was able to reverse my type 2 diabetes. My hypertension went away. I know there's other things. You know, losing 50 pounds for me was like something I thought I would never do. I went from not working out to working out 5 days a week now. Not always wanting to, but I was kind of challenged to do it. So I'm on top of a physical labor job, and for the most part, I'm way better. I still struggle with some inflammation and joint problems, and I wish they would all go away, but they haven't yet. But I have better days, way more better days and stronger days now, and I could jump and do squats and do pull-ups, and I don't feel 45 anymore. I'll tell you that much.
Nice. So we have Susie in the house. What's up, Susie? A fellow Virginian. Holy cow. My dad has 16 brothers and sisters.
Yeah. I know
that used to be a big thing, though, large families like that.
Yeah, that's true. My mom has 5 brothers and sisters.
Yeah,
Amy says Amanda's looking good.
I get money, right?
So. I don't know if that's how it works.
Well, that's what my dad tried doing.
So if you guys have any questions, drop a Q in front of it so it's easy for us to find. We're just hanging out and chatting. So if you have any questions for any of us about anything and everything, carnivore, low carb, however personal we want to get. But my story is plastered all over the YouTubes too. So I've been carnivore for about 7 months now. So I guess I'm the newbie on the block. But I too, similar to Jeff, I was clinically obese. So I was almost 100 pounds overweight. I had sleep apnea, high blood pressure, chronic inflammation, digestive issues. I have arthritis, bursitis, tendonitis in my one knee because I've had multiple knee surgeries. I couldn't sit for long periods of time, going upstairs, going downstairs, just everyday tasks was super uncomfortable. So when the vid happened in 2020, I lost about 50 pounds because all I was doing was slashing my intake restriction and just working out like a mad woman. And then I got certified and educated in nutrition, decided, plant-based was the way to go because certified in nutrition, that's healthy, right? So I gained another 20 pounds doing that. And I felt like garbage. So I stumbled across the end of last year. I actually stumbled across Ken Berry, the usual suspect, Bart K. I binge watched his entire channel, and a light bulb went off. I was like, oh, that is what I was trained. Wait a second. There's a lot of conflict here, a lot of contradiction. So I was like, let me just try this for 30 days. And here I am like 7-8 months later, and I no longer have sleep apnea. I'm down 65, 70 pounds so far. I have about 15 to 20 more to go to drop all of it, but I'm almost there. No longer have sleep apnea. I can go up and down stairs now. no pain, no discomfort. So yeah, so I started with 30 days and just did 30 days at the time. And I landed, my goal was keto, and I landed at ketovore. So maybe one day I'll go carnivore, but I landed at ketovore.
Do you have a carb limit on that?
I try to keep it at no more than 15, 20-ish carbs. So like I had a half an avocado with my burger patties today. So that was pretty much my carbs today. Sometimes I'll have berries, but yeah, it's very minimal. And it's not every day, but yeah, I do consume very minimal carbs still.
Are you doing net carbs or whole carbs?
Oh, whole. Yeah. Yeah. I don't fall for that marketing ploy. It is all marketing. I did start with the keto treats though. That was a bad idea. I was like, ooh, keto treats, that's fun. And yeah, I cut all that stuff out.
Yeah, just go read the back of one of those things. It'll make
yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's terrible. So Christine Cooper, wish I knew about carnivore 50 years ago. 14 kilos down since mid-February. A few bad days, weeks, but finding it easier as I get along. I'm 70 plus. Damn, congratulations.
It's pretty incredible to me. The last little while, it seems like I'm seeing a lot more seniors that are commenting, sharing their story, that they're late 60s, 70s, even their early 80s, and they're just finding carnivore.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Carnivore Ron, I believe, is 72.
71.
71? Yeah.
I talked to him last week. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
At that age, you always round up. So.
I mean, at 71, I guess I should have rounded down.
So you just remember what you're going to be. Yeah.
Jenilyn is 73. Damn. Yeah, to your point. Oh. So we do have a question. Mama Bear Lynette. I love that name. Are any of the panel members dairy free? Wow. So Jeff, why don't you start?
I'll go first. In heart, I'm dairy free. In practicality, no, I do some cheese now and then, and once in a while I'll do heavy whipping cream. I'll make something like carnivore ice cream and that kind of thing.
Oh, do you use the Ninja Creamy, whatever it is?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah,
maybe I need to.
It's this like trendy ice cream maker. I saw composition consultant Jonathan. He posted a story on Facebook that he made protein ice cream in this Ninja thing.
Okay,
that's all the craze.
I use a Cuisinart ice cream maker. It works great. So
gotcha, old school.
Well, you don't have to put any salt in it or anything like that. You just freeze the tub, and then as you pour the stuff in, it churns it and it solidifies and all that.
Gotcha. Amanda, what about you?
I do dairy. Scott and I actually are going to do August. 98% no dairy.
Oh, what's the 2% going to be?
Just we have some fancy hard cheese that I have a couple plans for, and so that's just gonna be a little bit of that.
Nice. Okay. So Aaron, what about you? Do you do dairy?
I have gone between dairy free and non-dairy free. I will have heavy whipping cream and butter, and I will eat cheese time to time, but I won't buy it anymore. Like maybe if I'm out somewhere and they like have limited options for me, I might eat some cheese, but I find that it gives me inflammation.
Yep.
And it's one of those things that's like I can easily eat too much of it if I'm not careful. And so I try to limit it. But I also love it.
You brought up a fair point. Mama Bear, are you including butter in that dairy question? Because you mentioned butter. That's a fair point. Because I'm pretty sure all of us do butter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean it's one step from doing ghee, so
yeah. So I do cheese. I do cheese. I cut back though because I get bloated in the face, especially the jawline. I'll get super puffy. So I have cut back, but I don't know that I can give cheese. I love cheese. I can't give it up. I'll take the bloat.
I've actually just said that because cream cheese will give me. I'll feel bloated, but I'm like, well, If I eat a little bit of that, then I don't eat as much potentially because I feel bloated and I don't want to eat anymore. Which I might be lying to myself, but I mean, I do notice it fills up my stomach.
Do you eat cream cheese with steak? That is like the best pairing. People think I'm weird, but it is so good.
I could eat
Cream cheese with steak
every day, but I got to be careful.
Yeah.
I do gorgonzola. I make a homemade gorgonzola sauce with it, and that is.
Amanda's over here getting all fancy. I'm
Yeah,
over here just cream cheese.
I'm gonna go have to look up gorgonzola.
I know. What's up, Aaliyah? Can only pop on for a sec. Need to get kids ready for bed. Okay, so she's going live too. Thanks for stopping by, Aaliyah.
All right.
Oh, we got another Nigel from Australia. More Australia popping on.
I see a lot of people from Australia on these things.
Yeah. What's up, Mike?
Hello.
I'm actually going to go visit Australia. I'm leaving Friday.
What? Fun.
For how long?
Trip. It's a work trip. I'll be gone for about 12 days, but you kind of lose about a day and a half going and a day and a half coming. So,
damn. My husband and I had a big trip to New Zealand for our 5-year wedding anniversary. This was in 2020. And then that thing happened. So we had to postpone. But yeah, it was all bought and paid for, all planned. And yeah, the thing happened. But Australia was on my bucket list. And instead of Australia, my husband gave me New Zealand. I asked for Australia. He gave me New Zealand. So maybe if I ask for New Zealand, he'll give me Australia. So we have another question from the Carnivore Boss. This is a bunch of badass names. My 16-year-old daughter, my 3-year carnivore, eats mostly ground beef and butter. Anxiety is much better, but she burps a lot every day. Is that normal? Amanda's shaking her head, so why don't you go ahead?
My question is, does she drink from straws? Does she drink any seltzer water or anything like that? She probably is just swallowing air, most likely. I'm curious, too, if she has a gallbladder, because just having a large amount of fat at one time can cause that, too. So if you want to answer, can be a little more specific, I could give a better answer.
I think that was a pretty good start with your answer. Jeff, do you have anything to add, or Aaron?
No, I was glad Amanda had something intelligent to answer there.
Yeah, it could be eating too fast too, or drinking too fast. Yeah. But yeah, if you have any more information to give us, that would be super helpful. We have another question from M7974.
That's a catchy name.
I know, right? Are any of you concerned with elevated cholesterol and LDL? Amanda.
No, not in the least. You can actually, my most recent cardiology visit, my cardiologist was kind enough to let me record the audio and share it.
I saw that video.
That was awesome.
The standard lipid panel, you get what is called an LDL-C. That is your cholesterol. Pretty much the best way to explain it is it's like, this is my explanation of it. Imagine New York City. You have taxis, which are the particles, and then you have LDL-C, which is like the people in the taxis. Doesn't matter how many people are in the taxis or how many taxis are on the road. It matters how many are in the road. So LDL-C, which is your LDL cholesterol, it literally doesn't tell us anything. They're finding it's a pretty poor metric to use. What's much better is your total cholesterol done not by a calculation, which is the basic lipid panel, and then your triglycerides. Okay. The LDL is just, it's just like pulling the wool over people's eyes. If you actually go back and read the actual studies, I'm not talking about the meta studies, but the actual studies themselves, a lot of these tests, what they did is they eliminated data that didn't fit their hypothesis versus letting the data explain a positive or negative hypothesis. They eliminated the information. There was a complete cohort 60 and above that had high LDL cholesterol that they actually lived longer, but they removed it because their argument was it was an outlier, but it was actually a large amount of people in this cohort. So no, I do. Long story short, I do not worry about my LDL.
No, that was That was a good explanation, because there's like there's two different camps on this topic, but no one talks about what Amanda actually talked about here. And that's the big misconception and the missing piece that you always hear lacking in arguments when you're talking about cholesterol. So Jeff or Aaron, I don't have anything else to add other than that, but Jeff or Aaron, do you have anything else to add on that? Do you guys get your blood work tested at all?
Yeah, my blood work improved. Both the HDL went up and the triglycerides dropped dramatically, but the LDL pretty much stayed the same. I think it crept up a couple points. But I think Aaron's got some videos out there where he's really struggling with that question. I'm wondering where you're at today, Aaron.
Dude, I'm gonna live forever. My LDL is so high.
Is this the highest score wins?
Well, the highest I saw was my LDL specifically was 438, and last labs 2 weeks ago was 399. But
okay.
From what my limited knowledge of it, it's like as long as I'm not eating carbs and sugars, I'm not glycating it, it's not getting oxidized, I'm not breaking them. Essentially, I'm not damaging them. I'm okay. But if I look at my numbers and my HDL to triglyceride ratio that they talk about was like at 9.8. This last one was a 1.75. So you look at like my cholesterol, LDL specifically went high, but now my HDL is high. My VLDL is like super low. So every other marker for health on these things is better except for my LDL. And surprisingly, that's the only one they could really treat.
Did they try to put you on a statin?
Oh yeah, my doctor fired me.
Yeah.
It's upsetting because I wish I had a doctor that would talk to me about these things like a person and not just be like, I can give you the pill. I'm like, I had to tell my doctor, I'm like, look at all my other markers. He's like, oh, well, that's interesting. Oh yeah, it's super interesting. And I'm like, way thicker than I was. You didn't even notice I lost weight. Like there's a problem here. Yeah. And so I might sound a little angry, but no, it's been a long journey and I'm thankful to be here because I've learned a lot. And when it comes to LDL cholesterol, don't worry about it if you're not eating carbs and sugars. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Your body is healing itself and you need that. You need that in your body. Your body's making it for a reason. And I think I just have healing to do. And I think my LDL will probably go down over time, just healing inflammation and just years of past trauma.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to look at the whole picture too, kind of like Amanda and everyone explained. Like if all your other markers are trending in the right direction, except LDL, and that's why I asked you, Aaron, if they try to put you on a statin, because that's what frustrates me is every other marker of health is trending in the right direction or optimal or trending that way. But one marker is elevated and they still want to put you on the statin. That's what frustrates me. Like I have a client right now who came to me with type 2 diabetes. Most of my clients are diabetic and obese. His A1C, I think was a 9 something, super high. And when he got his checked a month ago, it was a 6.1. So we went from type 2 to pre-diabetic. So we're so close on reversing. His doctor still wanted to put him on Trulicity or a drug like that and gave him a prescription for it, even though we're so close on reversing it. So it's just very frustrating how doctors operate when it comes to things like that.
Well, allopathic medicine will give you a pill. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised when they whip out that notepad. I mean, permission slip.
Yeah. Permission slip. Mother, may I? We got M7974. Please share your typical daily food intake. Aaron, why don't you kick us off with this one?
It depends. It depends on the day. I try the intermittent fast at least 5 days a week, 16, 18, 20 hours a day, depending on work schedule. I try to eat 2 to 3 pounds of meat per day, typically beef. Fridays, I eat seafood if I remember to buy it. Seafood Fridays, I made it a thing, and then on the weekends I'll eat breakfast if I feel like it, and a few eggs, bacon every once in a while. But I try to stick to the ruminant meats, But tonight I just ate pork belly, so probably half a pound. I wasn't that hungry, and it was so fatty. I was like, yeah, that's all I need. So
Nice. What about you, Jeff?
I typically end up around 2 pounds of meat per day. Sometimes that's in 2 meals. Sometimes it might be in one meal and a snack or something like that. I'll have eggs now and then and a little bit less meat to go with it. I do some bacon, and once in a while I'll do pork, but not very much because it just doesn't fill you up as much.
Yeah, I'm largely B, and E, except for, like I said, the berries and avocado here and there, because I had issues getting my fat intake up because I was super lean, like chicken breast, turkey. I didn't eat steak or red meat or beef or any of that stuff before really switching, very much. So yeah, it took me a while to get my fat up, and that was the easiest way for me to do it. So I'm still following that protocol. Eventually, every once in a while, I'll add chicken or something just to mix it up a bit because I do get flavor fatigue because I'm not used to eating those foods, especially all those foods all the time. But yeah, I'm mainly triple B and E. What about you, Amanda?
I do bacon and eggs pretty much every breakfast, 2 eggs, 2 pieces of bacon, and then dinner, half a ribeye to a full ribeye. And I drink Element daily, and that's water.
Okay.
Pretty much. Before we get too far from the cholesterol question, I did want to mention, if any of you guys have physicians, like just regular primary care doctors, PCPs, that want to put you on a statin and you are genuinely worried about it because you have elevated LDL cholesterol, I strongly suggest that you tell them you want to see a cardiologist. There is zero reason that they wouldn't or shouldn't be willing to send you to a cardiologist, because PCPs will not. Mine is the exception, but 99% of PCPs will not order the tests to actually check your particle sizes and things like that, your ApoB. And there's also a genetic component to having higher HDL or higher LDL or both that you're not going to know about unless you see a cardiologist. I see one. I don't actually have any cardiac issues, but that's what I went through. My LDL was high, so my PCP agreed to send me, and it has been the most informative visit. Whether they agree or not with you, you can get a lot of information out of them.
that's good, because mine sent me to an endocrinologist, which also told me statin. That was it. But before, essentially, he was like, he hasn't really fired me, but he doesn't want to see me for like 6 months now. But he's like, I'm going to send you to a cardiologist. So I do have a cardiologist appointment next month, and I'm hoping that I'll have a real conversation with somebody about it.
Yeah, and a lot of cardiologists, because I looked into my cardiologist. He actually does ketovore. He didn't tell me that. I'm like, I'm doing carnivore, so just suck it. Like, that's pretty much what that's what I told him. Like, I'm doing carnivore. I'm not changing my mind. I'm here because my PCP was concerned about my cholesterol. Let's do the tests.
Okay.
Anyways, I was just very honest with him. Like, I'm not going to take a statin. My PCP, when I first saw him, he's like, you need to be on a statin because, I was 360 pounds. My cholesterol was high. Yeah, triglycerides. And I actually had him calculate out the risk. And this is what you guys have to do. Just push back some. Calculate out the risk at my weight. He had to make me 40, and I was 32 at the time in their calculator because the computer said, put her on a statin. I had a 2% increased risk. That was it. And he about fell out of his chair, the PCP did, when he calculated it. And I'm like, so let's compare 2% to the risk that's involved with taking a statin. Never brought it up again.
Okay.
Having conversations, it's very hard. Having conversations with these doctors is key, because now my PCP is for keto, maybe not carnivore, but sorry, my sister is seeing my dogs at the vet's office. Having these conversations and being willing to, there are some doctors I think you just have to cut loose and run from. But my doctor went from being like, I'm really worried about you doing carnivore, I'm not quite sure about this, to now he's like, good job.
Okay.
It's a hard thing.
Yeah. We have a coffee question, which is interesting. So I'm almost a week caffeine free. I just went cold turkey. Friday, I think, was day 1. So yeah, so it's been almost a week. No, last week. So yeah, so I just went cold turkey. So that's what I would recommend. How do I get off creamer in my coffee? I mean, I never put creamer in my coffee or any of that, but are you guys coffee drinkers?
When I was a big coffee drinker, I would do a lot of butter, and that's better for you than the creamer and made it taste nice and smooth. But I would recommend find a way to quit coffee completely. I haven't drank a drop since October 1st, and I'm
Damn.
looking forward to celebrating a year of no coffee soon.
Oh, something to strive for. I'm only a week almost. What about you, Amanda?
I do coffee. I've been using creamer, but I also use butter. And here's my tip. If you use butter, Betsy's saying use blended egg. I'm not an egg person. If you ever watch my channel, I just don't like eggs. Anyways, use it in a blender with the butter or a frother, because if not, it just like coats the top of it. But the reason I like the creamer is to cut the bitterness. The butter does that, and you just need to emulsify it really well so you're not drinking like butter on top of coffee. But it's actually, honestly, to me, it's the same. Butter, creamer, the same. You probably could use ghee too.
Aaron?
When you guys are talking about creamer, you're meaning heavy cream, right?
I'm assuming
I'm
that's what my
assuming.
assumption was.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I'm assuming.
So I give up coffee from time to time so I can get back on it. I really I gave it up, and I went through it and I felt better. I loved it. But then after a while, you had a hard day here and there. You drink a little bit of it, you're like, man, that's nice.
You got that mouth pleasure going on.
Yeah, so I try to limit it as much as I can. When I wake up in the morning, instead of drinking coffee, I'll drink like hot salted water. Instead, hot, like I'll get like Redmond smoked salt, and I'll put some of that in there. It's like drinking a campfire. It's like amazing. And then if I'm not fasting or whatever, I'll throw some like Wagyu fat in there.
Ooh.
And it kind of tastes like a bone broth. And it's just, I'm trying to replace it, and I'm not as strong as Jeff. It's probably because you're Canadian or something. I don't know. But I have a love-hate relationship because it does make me irritable. I do notice that. I know that there's agitation, irritation for me. And one thing I experimented with is not drinking coffee and then taking a caffeine pill instead, because I heard Dr. Anthony Chaffee talk about it. And I noticed that it gave me the energy without the irritability.
What pill do you take?
I mean, just like one of those 200 milligram coffee pills. And I'm not advocating that everyone should do that. I'm just saying, if you can't handle not being on caffeine, that might be a different
trade-offs.
It might be a trade-off, like, or something you could, if you're weaning yourself off or something like that, which is hard to do. Some people could do it. And I'm always rip the Band-Aid off type of person. That's how I quit smoking and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, just stop, and that's that.
There's no weaning off. If I would have weaned off, I'd still be drinking it right now. So I just had to cut it off.
Good job.
Yeah. No, my husband banished me to the room on day 2 because I was so irritable. I was an angry little person on day 2. My husband banished me to my room. He's like, just get away from me. Come out tomorrow.
Yeah, I understand.
All right, so we got Lynn. Oh, hi, doggy. Aw. Oh, some big ears.
She's just really close to the camera. She's only 32 pounds.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we got Lynn has a question. I love that healing is a focus for so many. What do you each credit your key to committing to the change you made? Jeff, why don't you start?
I would just say that I was committed to finding a way, whatever that way was, to have a better future than I was looking at, because I just continued to creep up in weight, and I was at 350 pounds. I knew next year I'll be 360 or 370. 250, 260, 270. Big difference there. Okay. And I just didn't want to be that guy when I was, a grandpa that can't get involved with his grandkids' life. I didn't want to see that future. So
Yeah, I think for me, it's I knew how I felt before, and I know how I feel now, and I don't want to go back to how I felt before.
Mm.
That's the simplest answer I can give. Because yeah, it was not good. I was too young to not be able to go up and down stairs and stand for long periods of time and all that. So yeah, I definitely don't want to go back there. What about you, Aaron?
Um, initially it was a lot of anger and fear, and just thinking, man, I want to stick around for my family, and thought I was doing a good job. But I went on a 30-day challenge, and like 20 some days into it, I was like, oh crap, I'm not going to be better at 30 days. And so, but I had enough healing in that amount of time that I was like, I stumbled into something that I had to do. And what you start noticing, like you're getting better and you're getting healthier, it's like you can't go back
Yeah.
because now you're a different person because you've actually changed not only your diet but the way you think about food and 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 yourself. And I couldn't go back.
Yeah. What about you, Amanda?
The beginning for me was reading, or I guess rereading Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules and doing a lot of soul searching and honestly facing those dark parts of myself. And once you learn something, you can't unlearn something. I mean, it's like just like period, the end. And then when I faced those demons, I realized they weren't as bad or dark or as big as they thought they were. I just, by not looking at them, letting them grow in the darkness, that it made me such a small person. And I don't mean physically because I was quite large, but inside it made me such a small person. The depression, I've gotten to the point where I literally would go to sleep, like lay down at night, and I would tell my husband almost every single night, I wish I didn't wake up in the morning because I have had patients who have actually tried to commit suicide. And because I worked in a hospital, I've treated them and I was just too scared to do it. I was just on that point, and I realized where I was at then to where I am now, where I wake up excited for the day. And I think my honestly continuous motivator, the big thing for me is there are so many people suffering out there, morbidly obese, sick, just literally suffering just because companies want to make money, people want to do easy things. And that's actually what keeps me going, is sharing where I started, where I'm at, and where I'm going to empower other people.
That's awesome. So it sounds like we both have similar motivators, which is awesome. And Amanda, that tied into the next question. What was it like for each of you starting out as bloggers? Was it hard putting yourself out there? What do you got, Amanda? That was a perfect lead in. You didn't even know it.
It was really difficult. Because here's the thing. Like, I was this person that I would hide, like I would eat whatever it was, like binge on something, and then I would go to the trash can and like hide it in the other parts of the trash. So, because I was so shameful and guilt was such a strong thing for me. Starting doing this was very difficult because it was literally not only admitting to myself my selfishness I had done all over the years, choosing to comfort myself with food and binge over my future life and my life. My husband had turned into my caregiver almost. Admitting that to myself and then admitting it to the world, it was very hard. But I don't regret it, but it was definitely hard.
Yeah. What about well, first off, before we go on to the next, Amanda, how long did you contemplate starting a YouTube channel before you actually started?
A day.
Oh wow.
I've had these moments in my life where I haven't thought about anything, and I would literally go to sleep, and the next day it's like just this out of the blue. I would just have this thought. I would just have this thought like I should do this. And I thought about it a day and I said, I'm doing it, because I just realized my story was so close to so many other people's, and how empowering it is to see someone else struggling along with you, not enjoying the struggle. I don't mean like that, but if they're struggling and doing it, that means I can. And that's when I just like, I'm doing it.
Damn, that's awesome. What about you, Aaron?
I had a YouTube channel for a couple of years where I just filmed my family, just the stuff we did. And I'm a private person. I don't like doing that stuff, but As a dad, I wanted to document some of my family and that type of stuff. And I've also really wrestled with like not feeling like I belong. I didn't have my dad growing up, and just like I just never felt like I really belonged, and I struggled with putting myself out there. So that was one of the things like I did purposely, because anytime in my life I've noticed like I took a step of faith, like I got some healing from it, things that were difficult for me. So when the carnivore thing happened, it was just me filming myself going through the struggles I was having in my real life and working through all the things. And the next thing you know, like I just filmed 90 days and I put it out there, and I was like, people started watching and they were telling me all their stories. I'm like, well, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. And I'm so thankful I did, because I just saw the fruit of my step of faith. And it's good to have a big family and to try to inspire people and motivate people, because I feel the weight of that. But the reality is I feel like I get way more help than I give, because I still am lonely. I still feel like I don't belong sometimes. But the thing I know is a lot of us struggle with those things.
Yeah, the negative self-talk.
And I've always had depression and ups and downs. It's way better on carnivore than it was before. I'll tell you that much. I'm way more even, but I still know that God puts the lonely in families, and that's probably why I have a huge family, because and it's growing day by day. But yeah.
What about you, Jeff? What do you got?
An announcement that we're having more kids.
I was gonna let that one lie. What about you, Jeff? What about you, Jeff?
I would say I had experimented with YouTube before. I was used to trying to push myself to make videos and put myself out there. When I made the switch to carnivore, I didn't picture making a YouTube channel about it right away. It was actually 1 month into my carnivore experience that I realized, holy cow, like this is life-changing, and this is something I could talk about every day, and I could really help people and feel passionate about the message. And I'm so glad that I decided to start a channel just dedicated to this. And yeah, my decision became very, very easy after that. And it's weird when you're putting content out about yourself and you decide, okay, I need to share this experience of diarrhea for the first time, or whatever it is. We talk about all these really personal topics, but it gets easier.
Yeah. All my followers know I do like potty talk, so that's why I kind of giggled there. But so for me, I came at it from kind of like a pissed off sort of state, because I'm formerly trained in nutrition, and I realized everything, all the hours and money and all that I spent on my training was for nothing. And I just kind of got angry, and I started my channel to kind of spread the message that this is the proper human diet. This is how we should be eating. And I do not call out in a respectful way. I do a lot of reaction videos, but I do focus a lot on registered dietitians and nutritionists and all this peddling the same plant-based diet that's making people sick. So, I'm just trying to spread the message, and I'm finding through my YouTube journey so far that I'm coming across more and more registered dietitians I didn't know existed, who are also low carb and ketovore and carnivore. So I'm like meeting and talking with all these, nutrition professionals and physicians that I didn't know existed. So yeah, I came at it from a kind of a pissed off, like kind of way, to now, yeah, I wouldn't regret it at all, because it's just opening the floodgates to new relationships and new experiences, and we're all learning from each other. So yeah, it's been a great experience so far. I don't know if we're going to be able to, I don't know if any of you shop at Aldi's. Do you eat Aldi's keto bread? I don't have an Aldi's near me.
There was Aldi's in Minneapolis, but not where we live now.
Okay.
I don't eat anything that says keto on it personally.
Yeah. Same. All right. Mama Bear again. If you can go back and talk to yourself 10 years ago, what would you say? Ooh, Amanda.
I'd say read Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules and Atomic Habits. That is literally all I would say. And hopefully I would do it, because that is the foundation of my change, of those 2 books.
Nice. How about you, Aaron?
I would always take the time to pet a cat, which
I'm
was
sorry.
was from that book, by the way.
Oh,
Jordan Peterson book. Yeah, I've read that book. It's a very good book.
I was like, what?
Yeah, I was lost.
Don't interrupt kids when they're skateboarding.
Yes. My favorite chapter is what is it? Don't lie, or I forgot. Good Lord, now it's my favorite one, but it's the don't lie chapter that he has in there.
Yeah, honestly,
tell the truth or at least don't lie. That's what it is.
Tell the truth or at least don't die. Yeah, that's good for YouTube too. That's one of my favorite things. Honestly, I would go back to 2004 instead of 10 years and tell that person that had the conviction that I literally found a journal from 2004 that said, I want to be better at my diet and my health and take this stuff seriously. And it took me almost 20 years before it happened. And so I just want to go back there and like kick that guy, say, dude, Taco Bell sucks. Okay. just go home and cook some bacon. All right. because I feel like I lost a lot of life. I really did. And that's one of the things, putting my stuff out there is like, I feel like I waited too long.
Yeah.
And other people are probably thinking you haven't waited too long, because you can get better very soon. Very soon. So I would just kick myself. Yeah.
Damn.
Just beat your old self up.
But pet a cat.
Right in the neck.
Jeff, how about you?
I would, I think at that time I had tried Atkins and seen some good results until the doctor told me I had cholesterol that would be appropriate for somebody who was 65 and 300 pounds, and scared me that I was going to die. And I would try and talk myself into going back to that and even going further, so that hopefully I would find, carnivore.
Yeah, I don't know what I would tell myself. I was still in the military, so I would just tell myself to stop eating like crap, because I would always crash for annual, PT or physical training tests that we had to pass every year. I would always crash diet and crash like fitness like a couple months before. So I would probably, same as Aaron, I would probably just kick myself and just do that year round and quit that. It was a bad cycle to be in. So
Yeah.
Jenna said
Yeah.
she just
Bacon, eggs, and
Perfect.
yeah.
do
But
it.
Get full too.
That's my diet. Eggs, butter, bacon, and steak for dinner.
Yep.
With water. Lots of water.
With electrolytes.
Well, I personally do 1 element a day. And then I just drink plain water the rest, or bubbly water. You're being fancy.
What's your favorite flavor of element?
Grapefruit.
Ooh, I haven't tried that one yet.
Mm-hmm.
Seasonal.
I heard chocolate and coffee's good.
That's
anyone?
Well, I just had chocolate. That was my treat.
Oh, that was chocolate element?
Yeah. Hot chocolate element. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I don't know if everyone's comfortable saying this. Lucia wants to know how old we all are. So I'm 43 in October.
I'm 46.
I'm 33.
I'll be 45 next month.
Okay.
All right.
So we got a couple people in their 60s. So what is your all's favorite meal? I haven't scrolled to any questions yet, but while we're scrolling, looking for more questions in the chat, what's all of your favorite meal? Like if you can eat one carnivore meal the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ribeye with butter. That's fine.
That's super simple. I like it.
it's going to be ribeye or New York strip because I don't play well with others. I have to give it to. Those are my two favorite, and I don't even care if there's butter, as long as there's salt.
I find that, does it not bug you? I find that the New York strip now is just too lean for my palate. Just as of late, I just can't even eat them.
Well, when I eat New York strip, my wife eats New York strip. That means I get her fat too. So, but every once in a while, I feel like I just want to eat lean. I'll eat a New York strip. Yeah, but I eat all of my wife's fat.
Right. See, I can't do the fat. As soon as it hits the back of my throat, I gag. I can't do it.
That's the best part.
Just
Just
swallow it down like a pill. That's what
I can't. I gag. It's
drink some water,
instant.
swallow it.
Someone mentioned an air fryer and frying up the fatty bits and getting it down that way. So we are going to buy an air fryer this weekend. I want to try that. But yeah, I have an instant gag reflex.
Some of it has to do with how you cook, how quickly you cook your meat. Sometimes the fat can render down a little bit, so it's not quite the same chunk of fat that you're probably getting.
Yeah, if you get a good marbled steak, it hides in there. You'll never know. It's just fine. But it's those big chunks. I know some people.
That's the one I can't. Yeah, it's a big chunk.
You just cut it in little pieces, the fat, and then you just take bites with the leaner pieces. That's what I do.
Oh, maybe
then again,
I'll
I
try
could just
that.
eat a chunk of fat.
I don't. Jeff, one meal for the rest of your life. What would it be?
If I'm trying to be a little different and not do the ribeye, I would say probably burgers with cheese on them.
That's mine.
Just easy. You could grill them, you could air fry them, whatever it is. Pan fry them if you have to, I guess. Burgers with cheese is good to go.
That's mine, but I add bacon to mine. I can eat a bacon cheeseburger patty every single day. But I've been deprived.
Maybe with an egg over easy, dripping on it.
I've been deprived of beef my entire life, though, so that's probably why. That's all I crave. It's just beef. I can eat beef burger patties all day, every day.
Then do it.
Getting my fix. I do. Except for a couple times a week, I'll eat something different. But every other day during the week, most of it, it's burger patties.
They're simple, easy, and you can change them up.
Yeah.
Yes. I bake mine in the oven, and I'll top it with salt and then butter, and I'll bake it in butter. Oh, it's so juicy.
Now I'm hungry.
See, you just had dessert. Mike, Nicole, are you leading the race to 1K subs against Aaliyah? I hope so, because I don't want to eat the Pop-Tart on the screen. For all of you who don't know, Aaliyah Wells called me out. Apparently, whoever gets to 1K first, the loser has to come on a live YouTube stream and eat a Pop-Tart on screen for the YouTube. So please sub, because I really don't want to eat a Pop-Tart on or off screen.
I'd rather quit YouTube.
That's so sad. That's so bad.
Not doing it.
Well, she originally started with brain, a fried brain, and I can't do the organ meats yet. I haven't graduated the organ meats, so she said brain or Pop-Tart. I chose the Pop-Tart. I can't.
That's pretty extreme choices.
I know. What would you guys choose? Let me know in the chat. Would you choose brain or Pop-Tart?
How about just the fat from a ribeye?
That wasn't an option.
Okay.
See, she got it from Dave. Oh, what's up, Dave? Speaking of Dave, the other Dave. You all are doing awesome, spreading the message. My 1-year carniversary is tomorrow. Congratulations, man.
Congrats, Dave.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's awesome. Susie's showing him love. So Jeff asked a couple questions too. The one I just asked was one of Jeff's. What was the last food that you ate that was off plan that really affected you? And tell us how that affected you. It's a lot of affected, Jeff. So tell us the last meal that you ate that was off plan.
So yeah, I knew this question was a possible option, so I've thought about it. For me, it was about a week ago. I planned on just cooking ground beef when I got home, and I got home late, and my wife had made some chicken casserole, and I looked at it, and it was hot, and I was really hungry, and I said, there's some chicken in there. I mean, it can't be too bad, right? And I didn't do the rice, which we normally do the chicken casserole over top of rice. I just had the chicken casserole, and there was some green beans, and I had a scoop of green beans as well. And it was probably 30 minutes later, my whole body just felt flushed. I felt almost like car sick.
Oh,
And I really think it comes down to all the different ingredients that are in the casserole that I hadn't been eating, and it really hit me all at once. So don't go for the chicken casserole, folks. Bad idea.
I think for me was I overdid it on nuts. I don't eat nuts all the time, but I thought it would be a great idea to have some nuts, not just nuts, but peanuts. And I ate too many. I felt like garbage. I slept like crap. I just felt like I was gonna throw up, but I didn't. It was like the worst feeling. I just felt wheezy, woozy. Yeah, it was just not a good feeling. I think that was the longest I've tried OMAD. I'm trying to get to OMAD just once, and that was the longest I've gone without food just because I felt so crummy. Just my digestion was so awful. So that affected me in a negative way. Now I know don't eat peanuts ever again. No longer allowed.
Hmm.
What about you, Amanda?
Because of the autoimmune stuff, I react to pretty much anything non-carnivore. My last thing is I did Buffalo Wild Wings, which, by the way, the naked wings are okay because they cook them in their own tallow. But
Oh,
I was being lazy and didn't want to make my own hot sauce. And I did the spicy garlic, whatever. It has seed oils in it. And I literally get instant indigestion. I could eat pounds of fat and not have indigestion, but you give me seed oil, indigestion
yeah.
instantly after I eat it.
That's the same with me now, actually. I'm like, have you ever, when you go out to eat, have you ever asked the wait staff to have the chef cook things in butter or say, like, I'm intolerant to seed oils or anything? Have any of you asked
Yeah.
for that?
Yeah. I do a meetup every month, and I actually call the restaurants and ask them ahead of time, like, can we do this? Because we
Yeah.
don't eat seed oils.
Okay. Have you been successful for the most part?
Most
Okay.
places are pretty accommodating, and like Korean barbecue places are great because they'll actually
Oh.
use just like chuck or cut the fat off, like their ribeyes or whatever their meat they're using, and you can use that. They'll just give you like a chunk of fat to put on the grill. So most places are accommodating.
Oh, interesting. What about you, Aaron? What was the last thing you ate off plan?
Well, is it off plan? I took one bite of some green bean casserole at Thanksgiving, and I didn't feel bad because it was just one bite. But I try to eat pretty clean. But every once in a while, like go to Costco and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try these sausages. And I bought these sausages and it was like, okay, there's like 1 carb per link. I'm like, natural flavors. I'm looking at like I'm going camping, something easy. But I ate like 3 of them. And before you know it, my stomach was just churning. And the next day, my butt was burning. And it was just from pepper. Like I cannot have pepper.
Oh, I love potty talk.
Well, I wish I could because I can't do it. Anytime, it's not even worth having anything for me that has pepper in it because it will tear my stomach up. Which is, I used to love eating hot peppers and all that kind of stuff, but now I can't even have regular pepper. That being said, a little white pepper I can handle.
Interesting.
But I try to stay away from it the most part. But every once in a while, if I'm going to do any pepper, it's just going to be a little white pepper. But yeah.
So Lynn said she's 69, 5'3", started the low carb journey when I was easily over 200 plus pounds. I'm so much healthier now with carnivore. Hell yeah, Lynn.
Awesome.
Lynn, actually, we just had our meetup Saturday, and Lynn was there with us.
Oh, nice.
At our meetup.
Where was your meetup again?
I live north of Seattle. We did a 3-mile walk, and then we did Fogo de Chão afterwards, the Brazilian steakhouse, and it was delicious.
Nice. There's meetups everywhere. I think Bob, semi-retired Bob, had a meetup last week, and then there was another thing in New Jersey that Mike went to. Yeah, there's a lot of meetups this month.
So that, Amanda, that's why you're always talking about your goal of going up that hill. It's because you're in Washington State over there.
Yes, there's a hill near me called Alabama Hill, and I really should measure how long it is, but it is steep, and so my goal is to be able to make it from the bottom to the top without stopping. And 4 times it took me last time. I'm due this week to attempt it again.
Awesome.
So.
Yeah. I grew up in Spokane, Washington for the first 25 years.
Oh, did you?
So, and
Spokane's a little flatter, isn't it? Because it's more on the east side.
Correct. But I did a lot of stupid stuff in high school and over in Seattle.
So wait, do you have a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, Amanda?
I use my Apple Watch.
Yeah, does that measure elevation?
It does measure elevation change. I just want to know the specific distance, but my brain always starts my watch at the door, and I never think to start at the bottom to the top. I just need to actually do it and measure it.
Oh, yeah. I saw when you lifted your arm, I saw you flash a watch. I was like, wait, your watch can do that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I got Debbie. Where's Powhatan, Virginia? I'm not sure that must be real Virginia. I'm outside of DC. Real Virginia. So
I lived in Southwest Virginia for a long time.
Where's that? Where?
In Bristol, Virginia.
Okay, so I'm in Reston, so like 20 miles outside of DC. Yeah,
you're on the opposite side of Virginia.
Yeah, so that's why I say the fake Virginia. We're like DC. So Debbie has MS and weighs 318 pounds on a Trilogy machine for sleep apnea, homebound. Does Carnivore help sleep apnea breathing itself? I know weight loss helps. Have been doing Carnivore briefly. Yeah, I mean, you have 2 success stories alone with Jeff and I who had sleep apnea and no longer have sleep apnea. I mean, I think both Jeff and I, neither of us went to the doctor to confirm we don't have sleep apnea. We just kind of relied on our spouse to tell us whether we're snoring or if we're still breathing. So like, that's kind of what we did. But yeah, it absolutely can. Now, sleep apnea can be genetic, but if you develop sleep apnea because of your weight, that's why I developed it. Just by losing the weight, you should be able to get off the machine. Do you have anything to add, Jeff?
No, I would say a lot of people will kind of object and say, well, it wasn't Carnivore that fixed you. It was just that you lost the weight. But I notice as soon as I start eating carbs, like that night, I will start snoring again. So it'll happen that quickly. I think it has to do with a combination of losing the weight and the inflammation, at least for me.
Yeah, I experienced the same thing actually when I ate too many carbs. I did notice my throat was sore from snoring that day, so I noticed the same thing. Do either you or Amanda or Aaron have anything to add to that?
I had obstructive sleep apnea, which is most likely what she has because of the weight, but also coming to find out from a speech therapist, a lot of times what you can have, it's called fatty tongue. And it literally, you have so much adipose on you that it blocks the airway. And that's why it's considered obstructive. But also, as Jeff said, with carbs and things, you kind of bloat and retain fluid. So it can kind of create like a pseudo effect, even if you've lost a lot of the weight, but it's gone like completely. I was so bad that we have an articulating bed. I had to sleep with the bed sitting up, and I also had GERD. So I would literally vomit in my throat in the middle of the night. And then because I was snoring, it'd go down in my lungs and I'd aspirate on it, and I'd wake up not being able to breathe because my throat's like trying to protect itself. So been there. It's really terrible, and Carnivore has absolutely resolved 100%.
Yeah, for me, I stopped snoring way before I lost any significant weight, and I noticed because my wife I stopped feeling the earthquakes because I was trained that when there was an earthquake in my sleep, that means I need to roll over to my side because I was on my back and I would snore when I was laying on my back. And so I was just trained, but then the earthquake stopped.
Oh my God.
So, but yeah, I've heard of fatty tongue. I know it's funny, but that's real life, man. But I think a lot of people, and I've heard a lot of people say the exact same thing. One of the first things they notice is they stop snoring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a big marriage saver for me, because my husband would have to sleep in the other room because the windows would rattle. He told me the whole house would shake. I was a roarer. I didn't know how someone my size can make that much noise. Yeah. So we got a super sticker. I'm not sure who this is for, but thank you, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Is that for you, Aaron?
Yeah, Ricky is awesome. He's been one of my best favorite supporters.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very
Thanks,
cool.
Ricky.
I might take that back. Maybe I got to go look through these comments and see what he wrote first. But
Oh, it was just a sticker. He didn't write anything.
no,
that
I mean,
saw.
I saw him in there. I'm just giving him a hard time.
Oh, okay. Susie, yes, thank you. Everyone, make sure you hit the thumbs up button on the stream so we can spread the word that we're here for the last hour. JP, do any of you do iodine drops? I do not.
Yes.
No.
You do? Okay.
I do.
Why?
I chose not to. That's why I did Fish Fridays, just in case.
Okay.
Because every cell in our body needs iodine, and I don't use iodized salt because it has anti-caking agents, which, by the way, for any of you still using iodized salt, many of the chemicals that they use as anti-caking agents in the US are banned in Europe.
Yeah.
So just to throw that out there. Because I don't eat a lot of seafood either, I do Lugel's 2% iodine, 2 drops in my coffee every morning. And the thing about it too, and Dr. Berry and I actually spoke about this as well, is if you have any excess, like I think he says 2 to 4 drops, you actually just urinate the extra out. So there's no harm in it, but it ensures I get enough.
Nice.
Just expensive pee.
Do what?
I call it expensive pee. You know, you'll just pee it out, you know, if your body doesn't need it. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Jeff? Do you?
I don't. I figure I eat fish, and I don't like use the iodized salt on purpose, but I know I'm getting some here and there.
Yeah.
I may try iodine at some point and see if I notice any kind of benefit.
Did you notice a benefit, Amanda?
Yes.
Okay.
But as I said, I'm not a fish lover.
Okay.
Like I like lobster and crab, but let me tell you, that's expensive.
Yeah.
And I know I don't get it any other way because I don't eat fast food in any way, shape, or form. I'm so sensitive to chemicals. It's the only way I'm getting it.
What difference have you noticed?
I will tell you, my hair stopped falling out. It was so bad. We have like this rubber drain stopper thing.
Wow. Jeff, you need iodine.
Apparently,
We have this rubber like drain stopper thing, and I would have to halfway through the shower empty it. And now I empty it once a week.
Oh,
I mean, my
wow.
hair was falling out and it stopped
Wow.
once I started doing it.
That's
I
cool.
might have to give that a shot. I haven't even thought about it. Christine, what's up, Christine? No longer pre-diabetic. Hell yeah.
Yay,
Drop my
Christine.
statins and not on
All right.
antidepressants, working on blood pressure pills now. Way to go.
Very cool.
We got UK in the house. What's up, Marnie? From UK, it's very late here, so may not be able to stay long. Yeah, you guys are 5 or 6 hours ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to see that last one with the blood pressure medication. Just say, be careful, because if you're on the diet and you're on blood pressure medication, make sure if you're feeling like lightheaded and stuff like that, that you sit down immediately. Because I've known people that went on this diet on the medication that have ended up passing out and falling over and stuff like that. So that's one of those. Your body's healing. You might not need the drugs, but talk to your doctor about that. I don't want you to fall over. Be safe. Yeah.
Be safe. Carnivore boss, no straw, and she has her gallbladder. That's from the one before with the burping.
Yeah, I imagine she might, as Nicole said, she's just eating way too fast.
Yeah.
And swallowing, because what's happening is she's just swallowing a lot of air, and while the air comes back out.
Yeah. Susie, do you use any animal-based bath products, skincare products, etc.? I do not. Do any of you? And if so, what do you use? No?
I
So,
use herbivore products for my
Okay.
carnivore on the outside, herbivore on, or sorry, yeah, carnivore inside, herbivore on the outside.
Jeff, do you use anything for your hair?
no, I'm good.
A razor,
Apparently
maybe?
need iodine, but other than that, I'm good.
I think we
We're
all
gonna
need
see you next
iodine.
time with the mohawk from taking the iodine, right?
Drax of the North. Is there a best time of day to eat on carnivore, or is any time I am hungry, day or night? Okay, I'm sure we have all the same answers, but who wants to take a stab at this one?
Yeah,
I'll
for
go.
me,
Go, Jeff.
go for it. Ladies first.
Personally, it depends on you. Depends on when you get up, when you go to sleep, what kind of work you do, all of this. I did OMAD for months on end, but I actually found I do better eating at 10 o'clock in the morning and 5 at night because I literally eat 2 meals, no snacks required. It comes down to what your need is. I do not suggest eating before bed. I'd say a few hours before bed, because what happens is when you lay down to sleep, your body quickly processes everything you ate, and you can actually make your triglycerides higher by doing that.
Yeah, I'm the same with Amanda. I eat twice a day about the same times, but also when you are going to bed or your body is preparing for sleep, your body does naturally cool. But the problem is when you eat a heavy meal, specifically fats and proteins, because they take the longest and it's hardest for your body to digest. Your body is naturally heating up to digest all that food, so it's kind of like a conflict that could just mess with your digestion and provide you with pretty crappy sleep because of that. So I just wanted to add that. But yeah, I'm similar times and twice a day for my meals. What about you, Jeff and Aaron?
Yeah, I don't focus on how many meals anymore. I focus on what is my body telling me. And when I'm not hungry, I don't eat. And so sometimes I eat 2 or even 3 meals, and sometimes only 1. And I really am not concerned about what time, except I usually have my dinner meal by at least 7 o'clock. And for, same reasoning as you girls are talking about. So
Yeah. What about you, Aaron? Do you have anything to add?
I experiment with it. I'll eat 3 meals or 2 meals on the weekend, but I typically try to eat lunch and dinner, and it's usually within 3, maybe 4 hours of themselves. It's pretty close. But I think sometimes when I eat breakfast, I feel better some days. And so I've been trying to pay attention, like, oh, maybe I should eat breakfast today, because today I'm moving someone's house, because I move furniture for a living. I'm like, oh, I'm going to eat breakfast today. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm glad I ate breakfast today. And then I'll get home and I'll skip lunch and then just have dinner. So
Yeah.
That's a good point. Is it depends on what you're doing that day too. Like, there's some days I eat 1 meal because I just haven't done a lot. And if you're going to be physically active, you may need more.
yeah.
Like I'm a huge I absolutely hate tracking calculators and things like that. And like you have to get this in and do this and do that. But it's like every day what we need changes depending on what
Correct.
we're doing.
100%.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What's up, Kim? Thanks for tuning in. What's up, Running Tap? What's up, man? All right, so we got JP, alcohol in carnivore or a ketovore, question mark. I'm assuming he's asking if alcohol is okay on ketovore. So what do you guys say?
Strongly suggest not. Alcohol is a toxin, period. It goes through the blood-brain barrier. There is no benefit physiologically for doing it. That's my opinion.
So don't drink, kids. What do you got, Jeff? What do you got, Jeff and Aaron?
yeah, and almost all alcohol is loaded with sugar. So what are you doing to yourself?
I wouldn't say it's part of a proper human diet, but if you break your leg in the woods and you're in pain and there's no hospital nearby, go for it.
Yeah.
Good point.
Use it as a medicine.
Keep a bottle of vodka in the back pocket when you go into the woods. You might need it.
Or for your kids. Like the old days.
Sanitize your surgical instruments.
Yeah.
Dina Richter, I'm type 2 diabetic and lost 50 pounds since December.
All
Yay,
right.
carnivore. I see doctor tomorrow for blood work, hoping to get off my blood sugar medicine.
Awesome.
Good luck.
As Ken Berry would say, huzzah.
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 Big deal. It's a big deal.
M7974 agrees with Amanda, whatever Amanda said.
I don't remember what we talked about, but
Do you fast? I do not. I think some of you, I think Aaron, was it you that mentioned fasting?
I try the intermittent fast just 5 days a week if I feel like it at this point.
Yeah.
mine falls into intermittent fasting too. But I will say my personal opinion on fasting, especially because I fall in the binge eating crowd, it is not something I recommend in any way, shape, or form to new carnivore, ketovore people. Also, people who are binge eaters, it makes you rely solely on willpower. It puts you in a position where all you think about is food. And that is the number one way to guarantee someone that has a food addiction, they're going to then run to it because they feel limited. That's a
really good point, because it's like I feel like that urge coming on. I'm like, I'm going to eat something now because and then after I'm like, oh, I'm glad I ate because now I don't feel like eating.
Yeah. That's the same with me. I had binge eating tendencies too. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten almost 100 pounds overweight if I didn't. But yeah, I did a reaction video on Brian Johnson. He said he loves the feeling of hunger, which is so strange to me. So don't fight your body. You wouldn't let your car run out of gas. So don't let your body run out of gas. If you're hungry, eat. Don't force a fast. And the longer you do it, I think you'll automatically fall into fasting. But I don't see the need to force it.
Mm-hmm.
Mary,
technically you're fasting anytime you're not eating.
Right.
But
I mean, just unless prolonged fast, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're sleepwalking to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Hey, ambient eating is a thing. Let me tell you.
Nocturnal binge eating. One of my clients did that. I never heard of it until him, but yeah, it is a thing.
Yeah, the ambient eating is a huge, huge issue. My husband's mom, she's passed away now, but she would do that. Get up in the middle of the night, don't even know you're doing it until you go back the morning, find containers and stuff in the trash or on the counter.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It is a real thing. It's
yeah.
I never even heard of it until about a year ago.
Yeah.
Marianne, any thoughts on why I'm at 8 months weight loss stall? So frustrated, lost 80, reversed type 2 diabetes, but still in obese category, 40 more to go. Well, congratulations on 8 months and your weight loss so far. I mean,
that's 2/3 of the way there.
Yeah, 80 pounds is nothing to frown about, and you just reverse type 2. That's amazing progress. But what do you guys have to say on weight loss stall at 8 months in?
First thing I would say is it's normal to hit these stall points, whether it's at 8 months or 2 months or 2 years. And yeah, I'm sure everybody's going to tell you a whole bunch of reasons or things to consider, but it's normal. So you guys can.
I'm curious, is it you are at 8 months installed, or you've been stalled for 8 months? Because that's kind of what I read it as. You've been stalled for 8 months consecutively.
Okay.
Is that what I feel like? That's how I'm reading it.
Yeah.
I guess
if that's the case, I would suggest Dr. Berry has a video like 13 reasons why you might be stalled, because it could be a physiological reason. It also could be, it took me a long time to understand what my true hunger was. I know Dr. Berry says eat until you're comfortably stuffed. That is too much food for me. Once my stomach says it's feeling full, I've eaten too much. So I always lean into, are you truly eating to your hunger, or are you eating like the psychological hunger, stress, boredom, those kinds of things? So that's my suggestion to look at.
Yeah, that falls into the physiological aspects too, because that, stress, lack of sleep, boredom, being sad, whatever, can affect your appetite controlling hormones, which will affect your hunger and your signaling and throw everything off. But yeah, if you can clarify if you've been stalled for 8 months or if you've been 8 months carnivore and in those 8 months you've lost 80 pounds, like if you could just clarify that. But yeah, it can be a number of things. I agree with Amanda. I had to do the same thing. I can't eat until I'm full, like comfortably full or stuffed. I stop before that because I notice I don't lose weight if I do that because I'm overeating. So you might just be overeating and just adjust your portions, but it just depends if you can just clarify that. So Aaliyah's still here. I don't know if she's still here, but we'll answer this question. I don't think she's still here, but I feel like eating sauerkraut. First time in 5 months I wanted to eat any veg. What's the consensus? Amanda, I think you've been at it the longest, so why don't you lead it off?
Cravings. Cravings are always some psychological basis. Most likely you saw or something reminded you of it and it's triggering it. I would say if it's coming from here, that is not hunger. That is like the brain wanting something. That doesn't mean you physiologically need it. I mean, cravings come, they also go too.
Yeah, it's understanding the difference between emotional hunger and physical hunger. So like emotional hunger is suddenly and you crave specific foods. Physical hunger is true hunger. You crave a variety of foods and it happens gradually. So yeah, it depends on if it's emotional or, I mean, I don't know if Aaliyah wants to stay 100% carnivore. Like I'm not. So if it's something you want to try out, I personally don't see anything wrong with that. Like
It's
if you want to
fermented,
just,
so.
yeah, it's fermented, which is easier on the gut. But if that's what you want to try out to see if you can include that in your diet, I personally don't see a problem with it. I don't think everyone needs to go 0 carb. I think it just depends. People are more tolerant to things than others. So if you want to try it out, I say go for it. Why not? As long as it's
Trial and
not
error.
emotional. Yeah.
Yeah. Trial and error.
Jeff or Erin, you have anything to add to that?
I would just say, is it just, do you want sauerkraut because you want sauerkraut, or is it something you need? You just got to really get real with yourself, and we're really good at lying to ourselves. But I see nothing wrong with a little bit of sauerkraut for some people, but it could be like, it's not good for everybody, potentially on the way that you're, how you're thinking about it. So it would really depend on a lot of issues. Ask yourself, how would I react if someone told me I could not have it?
Right. Jeff, do you have anything to add?
I've never felt the desire to eat sauerkraut in my life,
it's
so
gross.
That's a hard one. I find it fascinating.
Oh,
I find it fascinating the different foods that people crave. I was listening to somebody's video talking about Brussels sprouts today,
oh my God.
and it's like, of all the things, I mean, Brussels
They're
sprouts.
delicious.
Plain?
Oh, no. You have to make them roasted. You have to make them proper.
Exactly.
Not the boiled, steamed. Oh my God, that's terrible.
So Brussels sprouts are gross. You have to dress them up to make them good.
Yeah.
No, you just need a little bit of avocado oil, salt, cut them in quarters, roast them.
It needs to be caramelized.
It needs to be dressed up. So what about mushroom coffee? I got nothing on that one. Who's got mushroom coffee?
Never.
I would suggest it.
I would steer clear, but I actually used to grow mushrooms, like medicinal or like gourmet mushrooms. That was my hobby.
Medicinal.
Yeah, not the weird stuff like they're in Washington State. Yeah, I get that stuff. Confession time, but a lot of this, they sell that stuff as like a substitute for coffee. And I mean, if you're going to drink coffee or that, I don't think there's probably that much difference. But just don't fall into like the snake oil salesman that's going to fix all your problems.
Yeah.
You might actually cause some.
And it's a fungus. I mean, that's what mushrooms are. And if you have autoimmune or you have any immunity things going on, it can just trigger them. But it's all trial and error too. Maybe you do fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's all about tolerance. What can you tolerate?
Yeah.
Marnie Mack, where's everyone located? I'm in Northern Virginia, just outside of DC. Jeff, where are you at?
I'm in Alabama, just south of Birmingham.
Aaron, where are you at?
Dayton, Ohio, the armpit of the state.
I'm from New Jersey originally, so that's the armpit of New York, apparently. Where are you at, Amanda?
I'm in Bellingham, Washington, which is about 15 miles from the Canadian border.
Oh, nice. I've never been to Washington State.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, painted some houses up there once.
Oh, really?
What was that,
I
Aaron?
painted some houses in Billington. Yeah.
Brian, I'm on day 3 of no coffee. Welcome to the No Coffee Club.
All right.
I'm on day 4, no spices. I'm into no stuff nowadays. I'm getting there. Hell yeah.
Good control.
All right, so we got a question from Drax of the North. I love that name. Would like to know how much coffee is too much on carnivore. I mean, technically, any coffee is too much, but what do you guys say?
I think if you're just starting and you need coffee to stick to your plan, go for it. It's not going to kill you.
I have a cup of coffee a day. My husband, who does carnivore as well, has 11 cups of coffee because we have a 12-cup pot. I have one.
Your husband has 11 cups of coffee a day?
Yeah.
And his heart's still beating?
Yes. He can have coffee at 9 o'clock at night and lay down 2 minutes later, fall asleep.
Holy
I'm like,
shit.
if I have coffee after noontime, my eyes are like peeled open, staring at the ceiling.
What?
He's done it his whole life. My husband's a lot older than I am. And so he just, I don't know. He does fine, you know. He loves
does
it.
He does
fine. No
does
problems.
he do fine? Does he?
He does get a little grumpy if he doesn't have it. I will say that. I've tried to talk him down in coffee.
Like,
it's actually better
10?
than it was.
He drank more than 11?
This is about half of what he used to drink. The big running joke is he does this. He's like, yep, got my coffee in my veins.
Holy shit.
There's some blood in my coffee system. Yeah, it sounds like an alcoholic, but
He's a coffeeholic.
Yeah,
I relate.
So that's why I gave it up from time to time, because I'll be 11 cup person a day if I'm stressed, and I just keep going because I'm chasing something, and it's like an addiction. But yeah,
and you're tracing that adrenaline.
Tell him to give it up so he can start it again. It's great.
Damn. Prepare 2020. I'm on day 31. Is it possible to undereat? Yes. Mm-hmm. What do you guys got?
Yeah.
It depends. If you have excess weight, no. Actually, if you're fat adapted and you are not, you have excess weight, I don't think it is. Because here's the reasoning behind it is we have like a lattice system of proteins in our body that actually help support the fat cells. Because the argument is always, if you don't eat enough, you're going to go in starvation mode. But starvation mode only happens when we don't have fat reserves to use. And Dr. Sivas actually talks about it. He has a really good video on metabolism, because this whole push, you want to have high metabolism. But mammals who have high metabolisms die young. It's naturally how it is. We do not want high metabolisms. We want reactive ones. Mm-hmm. So as far as undereating, if you have extra fat, it is not possible. Well, it is, because I mean, like, it's a nuance. But someone like me, if I wasn't eating, I still would be fine for months on end, because my body is recycling a lot of the proteins. But that's
I think they were talking just like actual intake, not the metabolic process. And I mean, being 31 days in, I mean, you're likely not 100% fat adapted, depending on where you're coming from. And I fell in that trap where I wasn't eating enough because I wasn't getting my fat. It took me a while to get my fat high enough. So it depends on where you're starting and where you're at in your journey. But if you're talking getting deep into the weeds of metabolism, then it's a different story. But if you're talking strictly like putting food in your mouth, then it is possible.
how do I say this? If you're not hungry, don't eat. I mean, that's my thing is if you are hungry and you're not eating, that's a different story because that's actually just setting yourself up for failure.
That's to the point where you can like actually rely on your signals too, because depending on where a person's starting, like it's not going to be reliable because you're still recovering from all that metabolic damage and all that signaling damage essentially with eating, depending on what the person was eating before. But yeah, pretty much if you're hungry, eat. If you're not, don't. Element, order through the Kill Me Life link. There you go. Running tap. Have any of you lost friends due to carnivore? Ooh.
I never had friends.
What are friends?
No, and I do just have to point out with this question, how would you know they died of carnivore? I mean,
I thought that kind of lost. I thought they meant like no longer friends.
Oh, I'm like looking at
this just got deep.
I just got scared. Was I joking about people dying? Oh man.
I'm like, oh no, we were killing people off.
Well, I had someone ask me that yesterday, so I guess that's why it was on my mind.
Yeah, Running Tap came back and said not die.
Oh, okay. Woo!
My bad.
Okay, so people are alive again.
They don't want to be your friend anymore because of carnivore.
All right, they're alive again. Okay, Amanda.
No.
That's funny.
They're going to do what they're going to do.
They're not friends if they don't want good things for you.
Yeah.
True.
Nearly everyone, even if they object, even people who are vegan for ethical reasons or whatever, when they find out how much it's benefited you, they'll usually say, well, I guess that's good for you. So if they're true friends, they're going to still be your friends.
If they're true friends. I lost one, like living, not dead. But I lost one because we went on a double date and I ordered just a slab of meat because whenever you go to a steak place, they always give you a steak and a veg or some side, and I just asked for the slab of meat. And my friend, the woman I was with, started questioning, what about the antioxidants? What about the vitamins and minerals and all these things? And I just explained why I'm doing it. And she got offended and kind of sternly said, I can't talk about this right now. So she was very passionate about defending her veg. And apparently we don't talk anymore because I didn't eat veg. I just want the meat. Yeah. Some people get way too overly passionate about their food.
When you challenge their belief system, people get very visceral responses a lot of times.
Yeah, it was definitely an eye-opening experience. For sure.
Like personally, for me, going on the carnivore diet, I didn't even want to say the word carnivore for quite a while. It felt weird coming out of my mouth.
Oh, really?
I just was uncomfortable with it because it just sounded weird and mean or something. I don't know. But I hunt, so I hunt, so I've killed my own animals and ate them. So
I can't do that. I can't kill Bambi and Thumper, and I'll eat them, but I can't kill them.
Yeah, because those are babies. Wait till they're older.
Yeah, no, even still, I can't.
Yeah, well.
No. Susan, I guess she's from the UK, 80 milligrams of statin for 2 years, been doing OMAD, switched to carnivore 11 days ago, got cholesterol tested on Friday, 183, try 85, down from 124, LDL 105, up from 58, PCP cutting to 40 milligrams, better, ? Amanda.
Yes, that's actually a lot better. And I'm actually pleased to see that your PCP is willing to cut your statin despite your LDL going up. But as I said before, you may have not caught this, Susan, the LDL-C, which is most likely what they tested here, it is not a good metric for cardiac health. And this is something else I didn't mention previously either, is I think I saw Jamie made a comment that the VA came out with a study that people who have higher LDL live longer. We actually need LDL to survive. Dr. Ovadia explained it. It's like having a plaster wall and having a crack in it caused from inflammation, excess sugar does that. And then what our body does is it uses the cholesterol to plaster over the crack. But what happens is if you keep consuming the things that are causing the inflammation, the sugar and carbs, it cracks through the plaster fix and it keeps packing on more and more cholesterol, trying to, band-aid it. But the body thinks moment by moment, not day to year. And it doesn't realize as it's doing it, it's thickening the wall, occluding the flow. So anyways, that was a left turn there. But anyways, your LDL, that's fine. My LDL is like 150. But I'm actually kind of proud of your PCP for cutting the statin.
Yeah, that's interesting. Aaron, do you have anything to add to this? I think you had some experience with this too.
I mean, I'm just a citizen scientist over here, but I think you're headed in the right direction. Just seeing the trigs go down means you're headed in the right direction, in my opinion.
Yeah.
LDL at 105, like, man, that's beautiful. I mean, it's way lower than mine, but what does your body want it to be?
Yeah.
And also remember, there's a huge genetic component that goes with cholesterol that they always ignore. There's a pattern A and pattern B with it that more impacts your LDL cholesterol. And genetically, if you are pattern B, you are more likely to have, in which I imagine you might be, Aaron, be pattern B for your LDL being so high. It is a genetic component that goes with it.
I did get tested for hypercholesterolemia, and it came back negative, but they said it could still be a 40% chance that I still have it.
Did they test for the pattern? Because that's slightly different than just the cholesterol.
Sure. But my dad has had high cholesterol, LDL, and he's been on a statin for 20 years.
Okay.
And he's also suffering, now had low testosterone. And I'm like, it's because you're on a statin.
I have to go really soon, but there was a comment way down that I did want to answer real quick. Okay. It was about the men having testosterone. Oh, here we go. Did either of the men notice a testosterone increase with carnivore? Obviously, I'm not a man, but I just want to say this super quick. My husband has had low testosterone his entire life. We're actually going to put him on exogenous testosterone, so the injections or the rub. We had his cholesterol checked 8 years ago, and it was 250, which is very low, and that's U.S. metrics. We only changed his diet to carnivore when I started. He lost 28 pounds. He has nothing else to lose. His testosterone is over 650, and he is 50 years old. Yep. So,
what time was that at?
That happened over a year. I don't know.
In the chat, so I can pull it up.
Oh, I'm sorry. At 6:34.
Oh,
I just happened to scroll by that, and I wanted to answer.
Yeah, my chat just jumped. So you're 3 hours behind, right? So that's 9:34.
Yeah, so it's 6:37 right now. So that was 3 minutes ago because I can't do that.
9:34. Okay.
Anyways, the gentleman can answer too. I just wanted to say that really quick because that's a huge change. And I also want to point out my husband had bilateral cryptorchidism, and that is when he was in the womb, the testes don't drop, and his parents. He has my he okayed me to talk about this, just FYI. His mom waited a little too long to have the surgery to drop him, so it actually caused a little damage to the testes. So this is improvement with having a physiological damage, having this much improvement. And there's a trillion reasons why, but let me tell you, I'm 99.9% most men's testosterone issues are based on the chemicals put in our food.
Yeah.
And not enough protein.
I never had mine tested before, but I noticed as I was aging, you could just tell it's lower. And after the carnivore diet, I was like, I finally got it tested. It was in the 650 range at 45, almost 45. And I was like, yeah, there was a difference. I noticed there was a difference. And it was because I was getting sick.
Jeff, do you have anything to add?
For me, I never had low. I was always mid-range. And my first physical after carnivore, it ticked up really, really slightly. So not a noticeable difference, but didn't go down. So
yeah, someone said Amanda's husband had a large increase in testosterone from carnivore.
Yeah. I've heard from a lot of folks in my comments as well that even older folks, 50, 60, 70 years old, saying that it really helped their testosterone levels. So it's
Jeff.
possible.
I'm going to tell my husband you called him old. He's 50.
I didn't say
Just say
50's not
Jeff's
old.
bald. Jeff lost all his hair
I-
from lack of
I
iodine.
look older than him.
Yeah.
I know.
So I know Amanda has to hop off. It's getting late on my end. We've been at this for about 1 hour and 40 minutes. If you have any last alibis, drop them in the chat. Otherwise, we will say thank you so much for joining this on the live stream. Thank you for spending your evening with us. Do any of you on the screen have any parting words before we pull chalk, pop smoke?
Go ahead, Amanda.
If you are considering this, whether it's keto, carnivore, or ketovore, it is absolutely 100% life-changing. The number one comment people have against carnivore, minus the cholesterol thing, is it's restrictive. What's restrictive is being 360 pounds, not being able to wipe my butt, and being literally a prisoner in my own body. And this doesn't even mean you have to be morbidly obese like I was. The depression and the anxiety literally made me my own warden. And carnivore gave my mental and physical space to heal from that. So if you're suffering, there is a way out. I'll get off my soapbox.
Jeff or Aaron, do you have anything to add to that? Aaron seems at loss of words right now.
Well, I'm thankful that Amanda's got this healing, because it's an amazing thing, and I know a lot of people struggle, and like she is, and even like I was 50 pounds overweight and not knowing what to do, like felt like an average guy, but I got so much healing in my life that like I'm so thankful for it. Like I'm still thankful to this day that I found the carnivore diet. And you could just try it. You could just try it and just see. You might only get 10% better, but it might be a really good 10%.
Yeah. I started saying it's a definition of insanity, right? You keep doing the same thing over and over again, meaning you keep eating the same foods over and over again, and you still feel like shit, and you keep doing it trying to feel better. So what's the harm in trying carnivore? It's an ultimate elimination diet, I say. So break the insanity and go carnivore.
You might not be getting old. You might just be getting sick.
Right. Jeff, what do you got? Last parting words?
Yeah, I would just say I appreciate everybody that's on here, my fellow carnivore YouTubers, but also everybody in the chat asking questions. And so many of you guys have been sharing war stories or tips or whatever. And I appreciate the community that's forming around carnivore. It just seems like the last 6 months or so, carnivore is really exploding, and there's a lot of people telling their story. And I hope you're telling your story in real life with the people that you interact with.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's a perfect note to end it on. So thank you all for hanging out with us and spending your evening with us. Until the next time, have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.